Hey, everybody, welcome to Big Red Live. I'm your host, Josh, coming to you with another edition of Big Red Live. Joined with me, coaches Tom Harper and Tim McMahon. How are y'all doing this evening?
Wonderful.
Oh, great. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. It's always great to talk some high school football. And, it's kind of hard, it's tough to say this, but we are entering that final stretch of football on the season where we got our regional finals football this week and then state championships next week. A lot of big games that happen this Friday night, and then some big games that are going to be happening this weekend as well. Coaches, first thing I want to pose to you is talk about some of the games on Friday night. I'm not sure if you guys went out to see a game on Friday night, but if you did, I want to take a moment to talk about those games and give your initial
Well,
thoughts.
Coach Mack and I were lucky. We had the opportunity. We thought about not going. It's too cold. Luckily, we didn't have to sit outside. We went and watched the Watauga Pioneers. Oh God, who did they play again?
Sun Valley, Tom.
Sun Valley. Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, it was. It's fun to watch a good football game. It's even more fun to watch it when you're warm and toasty.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I could relate to that, but unfortunately, I had to endure the elements.
Been with us. It was nice, but we saw a very exciting game. The probably the first exciting game that we've seen all year, not be a blowout. You know, uh,
Yeah,
seems like every game that we watched this year, other than this last one with Watauga and Sun Valley, was a blowout, and this one went right down to the end. And
Well, the East Lincoln Hickory game was awfully good. We did see that one, Tom.
the what would
The East Lincoln Hickory game was a really good football game.
we have? That was, yes, sir. I agree.
That was a great game. But other than that, you're right. That was the only game. Other than those two, we haven't seen a good football. Really, I have.
I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to go to High Brighton on Friday night, and my initial thoughts were this: really good ball game between really two good programs there. Coach Mackey and Coach Byrne at Maiden, really good coaches for their respective teams, and really grind out football game on Friday night between High Brighton and Maiden. Um, Game was 28-22 with like 5 minutes left, and interception by Maiden set them up with a short field. They drove it down the field, scored a touchdown, got the extra point. High Brighton on a 4th and 13 had a pass completed down the field on 4th and 13 from their own 20 all the way into Maiden territory around the 39-yard line. And a few plays later, Panthers found themselves on the doorstep of the end zone, and they sent out the kicker to kick the potential game-winning field goal. And I'm not sure if you guys saw the video, but the potential game-winning field goal was pushed wide left, and
Oh,
Maiden held on to win a thriller 29-28 in Lower Creek on Friday night. And I will say this, despite it being very cold, the game was well worth enduring the elements for, because that was just a fun game to watch. I'd seen online where people were going back and forth between both fan bases complaining about the officiating. And on my end, I can't necessarily say anything about the interception call, because some people were talking about the interception that was in the fourth quarter was a controversial call because the ball bounced off the ground and into the defender's hands, and it was called an interception. I can't make a comment on that because I had no really good view of it. I was about 40 yards downfield filming the video, filming the game. So I really couldn't get a very good look at what that play had a result for it. Outside of that, I saw some more complaints about penalties. I honestly felt like it was fairly officiated for both sides. Can't really complain about it, because where there was one ticky-tacky penalty on one team, you'd see it called on the other team sooner or later. So, I thought it was a really good ball game between two really good teams. And for the people that thought about the officials playing an impact in the result of that game, I don't think that's the case whatsoever.
Well, those are those the other somebody hard fall. The same thing for the Sun Valley with Ozzy. It was just a battle. I don't believe there were a lot of. I mean, Coach
No,
Matt,
I,
there were.
I, I'm having a hard time hearing you, Tom. Did you hear him okay, Josh? Or just me?
Yeah, he's kind of going in and out on me.
Yeah, it's going in and out. I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
I think I picked up on what you said. I thought the game was extremely well officiated in Boone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any problems? There was a controversial timeout call right near the end of the game by Watauga before a play that was ran by Sun Valley, but it really wasn't that controversial. The coach was trying to call timeout. It just didn't. It kind of occurred bang bang. I thought he got the timeout in, but I could see how a lot of people misunderstood that. But well played game. It was a back and forth game, and Sun Valley was rushing attack was potent. Watauga really struggled with it, but then Sun Valley's, I thought they had a great defense, but they struggled with Watauga's passing game. Watauga made several long pass plays for touchdowns and kept them in the game, and actually had a lead. And then it went back and forth, and Watauga managed to get down there and kick a field goal with 5 minutes and held on and intercepted the ball late in the game at about their own 30. I mean, Watauga 30 to preserve the victory, and it was a well-earned victory and hard fought. And two teams, I think if they played 10 times, it would probably come down to 5-5. It just happened to be Watauga's time, and I look forward to seeing how they can handle Northern Guilford, who evidently Ashbrook decided the season was over before Thanksgiving or not, but they didn't. Don't look like Ashbrook showed up for the Northern Guilford's that good. I guess.
Yeah, looking at that Northern Guilford game, the score was 39-0 at halftime. I was actually on the sidelines at the Maiden and High Brighton game at halftime, looking through scores. And when I saw that 39-0 Northern Guilford over Ashbrook, I literally did a triple take. I was like, "What?" I had to make sure I was looking at that right, and then just to make sure that it was right, I had to look at NC Score Stream just to make sure, and it was in fact right. And I was just like, "Oh my goodness, that's just crazy how quickly they jumped out in front." And they came to play because they scored all their points in the first half, and Ashbrook really didn't do nothing until the second half.
Reaction.
Anyway, yeah, you don't see many quarterfinal games with that big a point margin. I don't know if the Thanksgiving got Ashbrook hung up or not. Sometimes that happens to some schools that aren't used to playing and have a long extended time off, and sometimes you don't get the same football team coming out when they're out of school like that. But either that or Northern Guilford is potent. I guess we'll find out Friday with that game. But boy, it was cold in Boone. Now I'm gonna tell you, it was at one point the radio station was sitting beside us for Sun Valley, and they had their phones out that said that the temperature was 20 degrees, I believe it, but that the feel like temperature was 14. So it was brisk to say the least. But like Tom said, we were in the press box, and that's all that matters.
Well, at least y'all could say y'all were warm, because I could tell you one thing, me being down there on the sidelines at High Brighton, I was freezing my tail off on them sidelines.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, when I got back to Boone, it just felt like there was no difference in the temperature. I was just used to it by the time I got there. And
you got there that long, it don't really matter. But
yeah,
I would have hated to miss that game because it was really good. But I don't know if I could have. My spot in life now, I don't know if I'd have sit out that stuff anymore.
it's a very good experience in playoff football. And I'll be honest with you, Coach Mack, I hadn't been out in a game that late in the season in a couple of years, so I just haven't really been able to experience how cold it could get because we really haven't had area teams go that deep in the playoffs in a couple of seasons. So like last year, you had Hickory play Crest in the fourth round of the playoffs, but it was nothing. It was not as cold last year as it was compared to on Friday nights. And I tell you what, even I was wearing 2 gloves on my hands, and I was still freezing.
Speaking of Hickory, they had a big victory Friday night. It was a great game, and barely got by, but they did survive on the road. So I guess we got that set up again next week with Crest.
Absolutely, it's going to be a great game to watch. Crest has been a very explosive team, and it's going to be interesting to see how well the two teams match up with each other. Hickory's got a lot of athletes. Crest's got a lot of athletes. I expect it to be a really big and competitive game next week in Hickory, between Hickory and Crest. Also, another game I wanted to point out that is on the horizon that's going to be a very huge game, and it's just something me and Tom Harper actually talked about last week when you weren't here, Mac. Lincolnton and Shelby, we talked about the potential collision course, and it is indeed going to happen. Lincolnton will host Shelby this week in the regional final matchup in Lincolnton for the right to get to their state championship game.
That'll be interesting.
Rematch, right?
That'll be a rematch.
Yes, sir.
And the first time those two teams met, Lincolnton won in overtime 36-35.
Where was that game? You know,
That was at Lincolnton. So they're playing at Lincolnton again.
Well, you just never know how those things will come out. Well, it is hard to beat a good team twice, but I don't know if that matters at this point when you're playing this late in the season.
Well, and you also look at it too. I mean, Shelby's been kind of road warriors in this playoffs because Shelby, I think, for 3 weeks straight now, they've been on the road and they've pulled off upsets. They beat East Rutherford, then they beat Mount Airy, then last night they came away with a close win at East Randolph. So it's going to be a really good game between Lincolnton and Shelby on Friday nights.
Well, I saw Shelby first week of the season on play in Kings Mountain, and they got a really good-looking football team. They didn't play very well that night, and their quarterback is extremely good sized. He can rip it and throw for, I don't know how his career passing yards are, but it has to be a lot. And that ought to be a great matchup. And there's it's hard to pick a game this week coming up because there's so many good matchups. So that's what you expect with the semifinal games. And I think we've got it. I am curious. I have not seen or know a whole lot about Northern Guilford. That Ashbrook score's got me kind of blurry-eyed a little bit looking at that and just wondering how good they are and what's going to happen in Boone on Friday. Boy, it'd be hard. That Crest Shelby game, they've been talking about that matchup since week one, the possibility. So I don't know.
It's gonna be some interesting games this week for the regional finals matchups. But one thing I do want to mention is that we actually do have two state championship matchups already set in stone for the 1A and 4A. For the 1A state championship, you're going to have Robbinsville playing Wilson Prep. And then for the 8A championship, you're going to have Huff playing Millbrook. And Coach Harper, me and you talked about how Huff and West Charlotte was going to be a really good game. But, Huff kind of handled West Charlotte pretty well. I mean, it was 24-0 Huff over West Charlotte.
Yeah, disappointing. I thought West Charlotte would come to play a little bit better. But I think Huff just has some really good Division I type players. And Millbrook, I think, is the first time they've ever gone to a state championship. So that's going to be interesting.
Well, coaches, this is a topic I actually talked to with my father, Tom, on Friday nights. Given that you already have state championship matchups set up between Robbinsville and Wilson Prep, they are not going to play the state championship games this week. They will be playing them next week when all the designated state championships will be played. So I want to ask you this question. Do you think that they should play these state championships this week? Because we've seen earlier where the NCHSAA has kind of struggled to get sites for the state championship football games. And one thing I talked to about to Tom, my dad, personally, is that, if you were to play the state championship games for 1A and 8A this week, you wouldn't have the bye week for those specific teams and go ahead and get 1A and 8A out of the way. And then you only have to worry about having 3 potential sites for state championships next week rather than having 4 sites.
Well, you're handicapping the people that are playing for the state championships this week. You're handicapping them by making them stop everything they've been doing and put everything on hold for a week. I mean, it's the same thing we talked about when we talked about the same thing again at the beginning of the playoff system, where you have people that are getting buys and having. I mean, I just feel like if I'm the head football coach at a 1A or 8A school, and they're telling me that you're going to have to wait a week, I'm upset by that because I think you're putting our kids in a bind, and it's just not right, in my opinion.
No, I don't like that at all. Other sports, you know, if you got a chance to end a week early, you ought to do that for the kids' sake. And you know, you take 2 weeks off, there's just a lot of things can happen. You need to go ahead and play that game and get it in the books and move on to the next sport, or you know, particularly at the 1A, you know that there's a lot of those football kids that are going to be wrestlers, are going to be basketball players.
That's exactly right.
Holding up other programs and needlessly. I don't understand that. Why not go ahead and play those 2 football games? And yeah, I guess they'd be isolated, but there's a lot of problems. I guess there's a lot of good things with the 8 champions. I suppose that might be too many. I don't know, but there sure is a lot of problems with the formatting, and they need to work some of this out. Now that they've got a year under the belt, I'm sure hopefully they will, but there's got to be a better way to do this than what's happening right now. And if you can't fill out a bracket, then that would lead me to believe that if you got 2 divisions that are having to play early, or they don't have enough teams to have, I think 6 games is ridiculous anyway for playoffs, but it tells you right there that you got too many divisions or too many qualifiers, or something's going on that needs to be addressed, because you can't fill out the bracket. If you can't fill out the bracket, then it's not a good tournament.
They've got too many. They should have 6 state championships and not 8. It's too many.
Right number to me, but I don't know. I don't know what their thinking is. I mean, we used to have 8, and we divided it. I don't know that. I don't remember them having this many problems with the brackets. Maybe there was. I just didn't notice it. Maybe the 1As have always struggled, but I don't know why you wouldn't play the 8A. Why is the larger schools struggling? Why or not struggling? Why are they?
I think because there's not enough 8A schools to have a championship that goes all the way to the end, like the 2A through 7A does.
Then
Well, coaches, I'm going to ask you this question then, since your ideas of wanting to go ahead and play these games rather than have this specific bye week for these 1A and 8A state championships. What about this idea right here where you play the state championships on Saturday, so that way you can play your regional final games for the other classifications on Friday night?
Yeah, that's great.
I love it.
I mean, they're going to play on Saturday. They're going to play a lot of those games on Saturday anyway next week. So why not play them on Saturday this week?
Well, exactly. And the original slate has these 1A and 8A teams playing on a Thursday of next week. And, you think about it from a parent standpoint, some of these parents probably won't be able to make these games with it being a Thursday night. So a Saturday would be an ideal situation for any parent or any student that wants to go attend these state championship games.
Agreed.
There's no doubt that's a better solution than playing on Thursday night.
But if you ain't got to fill out your 1A and your 8A, then that's proof right there that you should be six divisions instead of 8.
Amen.
I mean, that's just common sense. Hey, we don't have enough for 1A and don't have enough for 8A. Well, we need 6 divisions,
And if you're not willing, if you want to stay 8A, if you're not willing to understand that you don't have enough schools to finish out the bracket in the 1A and the 8A, then you play your state championship games early.
Yeah. If you're going to stick with
it, you do.
Play. There's no need to hold the team at the very. It ain't the Super Bowl. They take a week off. But
yeah, I was going to say these aren't college kids. They're not. They're not
take a week
pro
to get
players
done. So let's play the games. I mean, that'd be kind of cool to have a state championship this week, or Saturday or whatever. Give a lot more attention to those kids. Why jam them all 8 games into 3 days when you do have an opportunity to play too early?
Well, and that also being said, Mac, with the regular schedule, you're going to have Friday night games and games throughout Saturday. You're going to have games overlap each other at the times that they're played. And, some of these games, they will be televised. And I'm not sure if all of them will be televised, but I know a good portion of them were televised last year. And with games being played at the same time, it makes it very conflicting for people to be able to watch and see these games that want to actually watch these games on television.
Yeah, they need. Well, let's give them a year before we come down too hard, and let's see if they make adjustments. If there's any adjustments that can be made, within this year to try to get through, because I don't imagine they can change the division within a year, but maybe after 2 years they could, I guess. Do they do realignment every 2 years, Tom?
Yeah.
I think it's every 4 years now, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, hopefully they can at least
I think they can make this change anytime they want to.
They could make this change this week if they wanted to. I'm assuming they could.
I mean, I don't know
short
when they made
notice.
this decision anyway, but it is they're not taking into consideration that we're talking about young men who need to be used to schedules and have other sports, like Max said, that they are going to be involved in. And here we are, just another. I mean, it puts. What if one of these kids during this week gets hurt?
Yep.
When they're supposed to be playing. How do you justify that?
What if one of these kids are looking out there and they're the best basketball player in the school and they're also the best receiver, and he's getting pulled, he's feeling the tug of basketball.
That's right.
Off and have an open day and still have the championship a week later. You can't tell me. I know how kids are. Where's his focus going to be? He may be trying to think about that state championship, but during that week off, it's going to be hard. I mean, those kids are they're not used to idle time, and I know they're not going to be idle. They're going to be practicing. But how do you practice on the open week for the state championship game?
Well, I mean, I'd probably be willing to talk for the basketball coaches and the coaches of other sports that most of these football players probably play for in other sports. I would assume that these coaches aren't very happy that they have to wait an extra week when they know that they can play the state championship this week and get the season over with.
Absolutely. Well, you don't think those basketball coaches aren't saying, we got games that this guy could be playing in, but he can't play because they're playing basketball games right now.
Sure they are. And the same way with wrestling. I mean, you got wrestlers out there, and I don't know. I guess I do any other winter sports here than there too, but it's not good. It's 16 weeks, in my opinion, or six playoff games. That's over half the length of a regular season. So these kids are playing like 60% of a regular season just to win a state championship. That's too many. I mean, I just don't know how anybody justifies. The professionals play 17, and the NFL plays 17 regular season games. And to win a state championship in North Carolina, these schools have got to play 16. That's just don't sound good to me. Five was I thought was too many. But we'll get away with that, I guess. But 6?
Well, coaches,
regular season. Think about that.
Being able to talk about some of the situations with the state championships already being set up, let's kind of shift our focus talking about some of these regional final games that will be played this week. Right here, I have listed 2A through 6A. I'll go through the different matchups, and once I get done with them, we'll talk about the specific matchups that will stand out to not only you, but probably games of interest for people to go watch throughout the state. So looking at the 2A part of the bracket, you're going to have Star Mountain visiting Murphy. And in the east part of the bracket, you're going to have Warren County at Tarboro. In the 3A West, you got Shelby at Lincolnton. In the east, you got Kingston at James Keenan. In the 4A West, you got Maiden at Brevard. East, you got West Craven at Reedsville. In the 5A West, you got Crest at Hickory. On the east side, you got Northside Jacksonville at Hunt. In the 6A, you got Northern Guilford at Watauga. In the east, you got Middle Creek at Jacksonville. In the 7A, you have in the west, Weddington at Grimsley. And in the east, you got Clayton at Cardinal Gibbons.
How about bringing that up a little bit bigger?
See if I can make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Is that better?
Sure, that'll work.
Well, that Weddington and Grimsley game is a game of titans right there.
I think that you look at starting with 1A. I mean, Star Mount at Murphy. Those are huge programs that, Starmount is just getting back to relevance. Were really good 20, 25 years ago. Went through some struggles, but obviously is back in the state championship game. And then Murphy is perennial, players in the state championship game. So that's going to be a good one. That'd be exciting. To tell you the truth, when it comes to the East, I'm not as good at knowing them as I would the West.
I know there every year, it seems like to me.
Tarboro is. Yeah, I agree.
Here.
I'll just say this as a casual fan that's been able to keep up with the NCHSAA for quite some time. It's kind of weird to see Reedsville playing in the Eastern region for that state championship slot compared to, in the last year alignment, Reedsville would be, in the West because they played in the Western part of the bracket last year for 2A.
But let's also know this. Obviously, it doesn't matter where they play. They're going to be in the state championship.
Seems like it.
Because they've gotten. I bet they've won 4 or 5
easily.
And here they are. It didn't matter whether they're on the East or the West. They're back in it, and that just speaks volumes about their program. Kinston has been. Both them and James Kenyon have been perennial players for state championships. And that will be interesting when see the winner of the Shelby at Lincoln, because that right there at Lincoln and a return to an overtime game, that is going to be, that may be one to go to, Mac. I don't know, maybe 2-pack.
Yeah, I don't know if I get that stuff.
You got 2 really good games. It's going to be a packed house at both Lincolnton and Hickory this week. In fact, jokingly speaking, I had to reach out to some coaches to try to help me out since Friday. I got to do a little bit of an exam, so I'll be a little bit late to Hickory. So hopefully I'll be able to get me a decent parking spot. It's going to be hard though because
how dare they put the education in front of your high school football games? What are they doing?
You know what? Sometimes you got to make some sacrifices.
Oh my gosh! Well, get your priorities straight.
I'm telling you.
What game are you going to, Josh?
My plan is to be at Creston Hickory because I just think that's going to be
okay. Well, I'll tell you
the
what.
Best game.
If you need some help getting the parking place, I know exactly where to go.
All right, sounds good.
And I'll take care of you. If you need some help, seriously, I'll call the AD and talk to him for you.
All right, sounds good. But that's the plan. Be at Creston
Hickory. You're going to let
Hickory.
education get in the way of your football.
Right.
Like I said, Coach, you got to make them sacrifices sometimes.
I hear you. I'm proud of you.
That Northern Guilford Watauga game, don't sleep on that football game. There'll be a lot of folks in Boone too now.
Yeah, that's going to be a really good football game.
Crowd because it was cold and they filled that side up. So.
And there's a possibility. I checked the forecast earlier today. It's not 100%, but last time I checked the forecast, there was a slight chance of wintry precipitation on Friday evening. So it could be a wet and cold ball game for both teams. So it's going to come down to
right
those elements.
I don't believe Northern Guilford is used to that.
Yeah, you remember that time they had to play that playoff game on Sunday in Asheville because it snowed? Tom, you remember that? You probably don't.
I do not.
Yeah, play a playoff game.
I struggle to remember what I did yesterday. So
it snowed real bad on Friday, and they couldn't play it till Sunday. They had to play a game on Sunday afternoon. I remember that. It was crazy. But, I hope we don't get in that situation. Too good of matchups now. They need to get these things in Friday, hopefully. I don't guess they'd move them to Thursday if it was going to threaten on Friday.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes, but just the early forecast that I saw earlier today, my phone said that there was a slight chance for some snow up here in Boone on Friday evening.
Oh, boy. Yeah, if it's going to snow everywhere, it'll be Boone.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope that weather cooperates because I don't know which one of these. I still ain't decided. I guess I'm leaning towards the Crest Hickory game, but
that's where I'm leaning towards.
It's close, and it's a great.
And there's a couple good barbecue places in Hickory that we can go to.
Yeah, buddy, I'm with you on that one.
Make sure y'all save me a plate.
We'll do it.
Well,
I'll make sure to
I
slide
wish
y'all
you
a few
did that.
bucks and get me a good.
If you didn't let your education get in the way, we'd take you out to dinner. But
Oh, come on now. I gave you a Big
I
Red
know
t-shirt.
you're
That's
making
worth
the
the exchange.
sacrifices. I'm proud of you making them. We'll eat. We'll be thinking about you while we eat.
Oh, Lordy. Just make sure you when you're breaking bread, make sure to say a prayer. Say, I hope John did well in his exam.
We'll say a prayer that you get down the mountain safely.
There we
Tom,
go. Sounds good.
Tom, I thought about you. I saw where Lane Kiffin. We talked about that Friday night. He took off for Cajun.
Yeah, no, I'm disappointed, man.
You knew he was going to.
Well, when I heard 12 to 15 million,
Yeah,
I mean, that's all I needed to hear.
close to 30 million NIL. I guess. I guess he just couldn't pass it up. But I don't know, boy. It's hard to trade happy. He's all talked about how happy he was at Mississippi. You just never know how them things work out.
I just can't believe, he's got a son that's going to be a junior in high school, and he's moving him.
Yeah. You can't. It's also the same fellow that left Tennessee, and it's hard for anybody to just walk off of Tennessee. I know Tennessee's a proud and awesome program. I mean, he left Tennessee. Now it was for USC, but I don't know, man. That just
But you're getting ready to. My biggest. I'm a loyalty guy till it hurts, and sometimes even past the hurt. And Ole Miss is getting ready to play in the playoffs and could win the national championship, and he's not going to be the coach.
He walked off. They wouldn't let him coach. Tried to make it where tried to blackmail him. I heard tried to say he's going to take all the players, but they didn't let him coach. And they ended up hiring the assistant. And he told him to no. He wouldn't even let him talk to the team today. Did you see that?
No, did he really?
Yeah, the new head coach told Lane, said, no, you can't be at the meeting. Nope.
Oh, come on.
No, it's truth. Lane Kiffin said he understood. He said he's got a job to do. I get it. I understand. I hate it, but, I get it. They got a job to do. There's some hurt feelings. They said the players are irritated, too. So, I don't know. I think the Mississippi administration, it was gotten a little rough, and they said, you can be the head coach, but he back in this building.
Wow. Well, coaches, real quick, we're going to go ahead and do our wheel spin for the Blue 42 Pick 'em Poll Challenge winner. This week we had.
This is much more important than what we were talking about.
Oh no! I mean, it's an important storyline because
this is important. Here we go.
Absolutely. So we had a 2-way tie this week for the Pick 'em Poll between Darren Browning and Jason Bumgarner, and we're going to do our quick spin for this week's Pick 'em Poll winner, and the winner is going to be this week. I'm not going to say it until it actually pops up because I have a habit of doing it prematurely. Darren Browning, you are the winner of this week's Pick 'em Poll for the Blue 42 Pick 'em Poll. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we will have the Pick 'em Poll posted this week for the high school games, and we are going to be shifting towards basketball pretty soon once the football season concludes. We are looking forward to continuing to do our Pick 'em Polls, so we would like to thank Blue 42 and B52s for sponsoring our Pick 'em Polls, as well as Countryside Barbecue for sponsoring our scoreboard challenge for the particular games. Coaches, final thoughts before we close out. I mean, that's pretty much it we've covered for the night.
I'm just sad that football's coming to an end.
Well, all good things, as they say, but I hope that I hope the games this week are as good as the games that were last week. We waited a long time, and hopefully this semifinals will get us where we want to be in this season, because those games last week were exciting. Every game that I checked out, with the exception of the Ashbrook game, it seemed like it came down to the final possession, and I just hope for the same, that we have really good football games and set up some great state championship games.
Absolutely, coaches. And if we do see an area team in a state championship game, coaches, it seems like we're going to be making a road trip to go support some local squads in the state championship. What do y'all think about that?
We're good with that.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Long as there's a good place to eat, we're good.
I mean, I'm just going to have to trust y'all on that since y'all are the coaches here. Y'all got to know them barbecue places.
I don't care who's playing.
That's right.
He's like, I'm just doing it for the barbecue.
No, I'm going to the one that's close. So it ain't been a state championship. Lenoir's a good place to watch.
We're gonna go. We're gonna get on the road to Hickory because we're excited about seeing state championship at LR.
Don't you think so? If Hickory makes it, I think they'll be at Lenoir, don't you?
I hope so.
I may be crazy.
Consider that home cooking or not.
Well, you could probably see Hickory. You could possibly see Maiden, or you could see Watauga. There's a good chance that you might see one of those three playing.
I didn't think about Maiden. Watauga's a little farther, but Maiden for sure. It's same county, but yeah.
Maybe Maiden, speaking of playoff games, going up to Brevard, that's like playing at Watauga. And it's going to be a little bit colder, a little bit windier. It's going to be interesting. And, that Will Byrne, the head coach at Maiden, has waited a long time to be in this position. So I hope to goodness that they play well.
That's a throwback matchup, Brevard and Maiden.
Oh, yeah.
That goes back a long time. So that's kind of cool to see.
All right, coaches, we appreciate you as always for being able to come on and give your insight to our viewers. We thank you as always for tuning in to Big Red Live for the weekly football podcast. We will see y'all next week to talk about some state championship football. And until then, go out, support your local squads, and we'll catch y'all next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
See you guys.